Hi everyone, it's Mel from My Paper Oasis. I'm back again tonight doing a Sunday night live video. Apologies for last week, but as it had been my birthday, I got to go out for a dinner. So I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I love sharing all things papercraft. So tonight what I'm going to share with you is how to create the backgrounds that I made on this card. So this card I created, I'm part of a couple of design teams, and tonight on Sunday nights we also set off our blogs for casing the catalogue, which is a fantastic hop that we do where you can case pretty much anything in the catalogue, given that we have certain sections that we do. So this week was love and sympathy. Now you can take your inspiration from anything. So this week in the catalogues I chose to take some inspiration from some of the beautiful backgrounds that we saw or see in the section that we're casing this week. So what I really wanted to show you was how I do the background. This card, as soon as I saw the mermaids in the catalogue, I knew that I had to get this set. I love mermaids. It's called Magical Mermaid. This is the actual set. Beautiful, for ocean pictures and imagery, and this is the gorgeous mermaid that I have used. And the sentiment in the bottom here says never stop believing, which is all I've done is cut the never stop and the believing out of this stamp here. So don't forget that you can do that with your stamps. You can pick and choose the bits that you want sometimes to make sentiments that you want. So if you can see, it's really hard to get a good photo of this card, and even on this camera it still doesn't look as gorgeous as it does in real life. It's super stunning. The mermaid tail is full of glitter, which you can't see on here at all, or maybe a little bit, and super shiny thanks to the fine tip glue pen. When I watercolored that, I used fine tip glue over the top. And this background, as you can see, has a few different elements. So you can see this shimmer in the background. I want to show you how I did that over the top of the watercolour with the splodges. And then this is just your regular kind of heat embossing that you do. And then the bottom here, which I'm not going to do tonight, but I wanted to point out to you, is our lovely new embossing paste, which is this embossing paste has come out in the new catalogue. Are you loving the new catalogue? I know I am. White embossing paste, which means that you can colour it whatever colour you want with your re-inkers, and make sure that you get the lid on properly because it dries out. You can get the set of palette knives with that as well, and it also has some masks, which I haven't got out, but I do have. So a set of different knives that you can play with to create your backgrounds. And it dries really quick. So this one I just smeared over and I heat set it, and then as you can see I used the stamp of a darker colour. So this stamp is what I just literally stamped directly over the embossing paste to give it that sandy look. So it looks really, really cool. I love it. And yeah, so that's Mermaid. So let me show you how to create this kind of background, the very watercolour background that you can see. Tonight I'm going to do a few different colours. So what you need to create your watercolour backgrounds is basically some inks. Now you can use your normal ink pads by giving it a squish, flipping the lid open, and you'll have ink inside. But I always buy my re-inkers to re-ink my stamp pads, and because I love watercolouring so much. So tonight I'm going to have a play. I like 3 different colours. I like a light, a medium and a dark colour. So I'm using all of our new ink colours. I am using our powder pink, our berry burst and our fresh fig for this card tonight to create this background. So I'm going to pop this to the side, and I'm only going to show the background. I'm going to go off and I'm going to do another mermaid card in the different colours, and I'll post that up on my site a bit later. So you're also going to need an aqua painter, one of these lovely pens, and paper towel on hand is always very, very handy. So what I do is I always drop some inks on my clear blocks. Clear blocks come in handy for so many things. So this is the powder pink. This is the berry burst, and this is the fresh fig, and as you can see they've got a little bit of water in them already. So I use shimmery white cardstock, which has that glimmery look to it. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but it holds watercolour a lot better than a regular white cardstock, and it's not as dark as a watercolour paper. So I'm just going to pop a few drops of water on here and give it a bit of a smear, and then I'm just going to literally pick up. Now I would be dropping the water into this, so I would squeeze water into that and pick up the colour. and literally just colour it over my cardstock. Now, I seriously do not have any real way that I watercolour other than kind of smearing and swirling. Wipe off your pen in between, and then I'm going to pick up some of the Berry Burst. Now keep in mind that this is quite a dark colour, so if you water it down you can get the smear the colour a bit. And literally I'm just going to do the same thing because your cardstock's wet, it bleeds really quite well. So you're just going to smear a little bit more. So you'll get a different look every single time you do this. I'm wiping off the pen again. And then I'm going to pick up some of the fresh fig. Now I've watered this down at this point here. You can see it's really dark here. With a darker colour, I tend to just drop in. I just drop bits of it in. I don't want to overwhelm the colour, the card with the colour. So I'll drop it in and just kind of smear it around. And sometimes it looks really funny when you first do it, but as it dries, it actually looks really, really pretty. So that's all I do to watercolour my shimmery white. And you can see that it's quite wet. So what you need to do before you do anything else is you need to let this dry. So you can either hit it with the heat gun for a few minutes and that will certainly dry it off. Or you can just sit and put it to the side and let it dry. Now to wash your pen, all you're really doing is squeezing the water out of the barrel and wiping your pen off. Be really gentle with the nibs, okay? You don't want to be rubbing like this or you're going to break the nib. You want the nibs to stay nice and pointy for any fine colouring. So I always roll my brush, okay? So roll your brush. So obviously I can't work on this one because it's still really, really wet. So I'm going to put that one to the side. And here's one that I created and dried earlier. So as you can see, it looks different already. And it's got that shimmer in it from the shimmery white cardstock. So when it's dry, this is when you can start doing this fancier kind of background in it. Now, this background, this is not something I taught myself. I got this off a fantastic lady called Jennifer Maguire. She is amazing with inks and colours, does some amazing stuff. So you can definitely check her out. She's in America, but she's on the internet. And she uses background stamps to do this kind of watercolour look. The effects into the watercolour. So all I did was took the framelits that coordinate with the Swirly Bird stamp set. Now this is, I've forgotten the name of it, it's Swirly something. And this is the wavy kind of one. So all I've done is created a mask with this. You stick it down, adhere it down over your card, and I just use washi tape for this. So just pop it down over your card. Get yourself a little sponge dauber and your Versamark, and you're literally going to ink that up and splodge it in the gaps. You want to try and keep this in the gaps, not like all over and over the edges, because you're then going to end up with embossing powder everywhere. So if you keep doing this and you ink it right in the little gaps, and I kind of stop mine right at the edge of the colour. I don't want to keep going well over the edges. I want to keep it on the colour. So what you're going to do is you just keep doing that. Get a good bit of Versamark on it. Now you can move it down the card as you go. So you would take this off and then you would move it down, and I would move it across a little bit so you get a variance in the pattern. So move it this way and move it this way and re-ink that again. And then you would hit it with clear embossing powder. Now I'll do the top bit. I'll show you the top bit. You're not going to really be able to see much because it is clear embossing powder. But we have a few different colours and clear is one of them. So clear is fantastic when you just want to create kind of a back highlight. So this is our embossing powder, and to get the look you've just got to sprinkle it over the top, tap off the excess so you can see, there you go, you can see the embossing powder there, and you can see how I've gone over the edge a bit. So I always have a handy little brush with me, and I would just brush that off, which is a bit tricky to do when I'm looking through the camera and not at the actual card. So I would brush those excess bits off. And then you hit it with the heat gun. So you set it with the heat gun, heat it up, and it will go hard and clear. And I will show you what that looks like on another one. So can you see all that background? So it looks very similar to kind of waves and water in the background, which is what I was trying to achieve, with this card. So that is what you do. That's like just 3 times down your card using that mask. So very, very simple process to do that. Now the other thing I then did was, oh, it's got Aussie embossing powder over it, it's a bit stuck. Just get your water pencil again and literally just put some drops on your paper. So wherever you want it, you just drop it. And you give that a moment to sit. You can see that as you've watercoloured, the cardstock rolls a bit, so you will need to put lots of adhesive on to keep, get your card straight. When you hit it with the heat gun, hit it at the back of the card as well, and that helps straighten it out. So you give that a few minutes just to sit. You kind of be a little bit patient with it and let it sit. And then you're going to get your paper towel, and I don't know if this has had quite enough time yet. And you're literally just, there it is, yep, you're literally just going to pat your splodges off. So pat your splodges off, and then you can see how you've got those gaps again in your watercolouring. So it just creates some really cool background effects before you then start doing, the rest of your card. So then all I did with this was I used the seaweed, and I used white embossing powder with that, and the embossing paste, like I said. And then this is our new copper ribbon, our copper trim, which comes on a little roll, and it's like 1/4 of an inch. But if you cut it down the tube, it's like a tube, so if you open it and cut it, you can spread it so it looks a little bit like net. And then, yeah, you can decorate your cards to have anything on them that you like. So that's how you create some really cool backgrounds for your cards, guys. Really hope you like that. I will post up a picture of what I'm going to do with this one in a few days with another mermaid, because I love her, and let's be honest, I'm going to use her an awful lot. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Have a really good night, and if you have any questions, let me know. If you need a new catalogue, let me know. I run classes all the time. So if you're interested in doing some classes, have a look at my events on my Facebook page, and you will see all the different classes there. And yeah, if you're in Australia, of course, you can place orders with me. I will pop this video up on YouTube in the next few days, and all the links will be there so that you can see the blog post as well as creating your own backgrounds. Thanks heaps, guys. Have a good night. Bye.